Hey, what's going on, guys? Sand Motion here, back with another What If on the channel, and in this video, I'm continuing the theory of if Gohan was like Broly. This is part 6, and on the previous part, we saw this. Gohan, with his immense strength, had stopped the arrival of Majin Buu. After 4 years of peace, Battle of Gods came around, and the god of destruction, Beerus, came looking for a Super Saiyan god. Instead, though, Beerus met the legendary Super Saiyan who put up an amazing fight. When Beerus let the fight drag out, Gohan had started to become into a full-powered Super Saiyan 2, and that's basically the legendary Super Saiyan 2 transformation, BROLY Super Saiyan 1, but in Super Saiyan 2 instead. And when that happened, Beerus realized this was a threat. He powered up all the way to 100%, landing a blow to Gohan's neck, knocking him out. The Super Saiyan God was not learned by the Saiyans this time around, but Beerus invited both Goku and Gohan to his planet to train with Whis. That's where we left off in the last part, and before we get into this one though, let's hit a like goal of 25 likes. And when we do, I'll continue with another part. Huge thanks to all the support recently. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as well before we get into this part. And with that said, let's get right into it. Gohan and Goku both arrive on Beerus' planet, and immediately they start training with none other than Whis. Both learn a lot, and since this is a few months earlier than in the original series, Goku is able to learn the Super Saiyan God transformation much sooner. While he does that, though, Gohan cannot seem to get God Ki. He's trying, but every time it looks like he's about to get it, it just slips out of his body. He's kind of confused. But Whis does come up with a theory that it's because of his different Super Saiyan transformations and Saiyan biology. His case is different. While Whis tries to figure out what's up with Gohan, Goku continues on to train with the art of God Ki, while Whis specifically trains Gohan. Goku would eventually get the Super Saiyan Blue transformation months earlier than in the original series, while Whis is still trying to figure out what's up with Gohan. Speaking of, Gohan does take matters into his own hands. He realizes that God Ki might not be the best thing for him, and he realizes that the Super Saiyan 2 transformation that he used against Beerus gave him a huge scare, so he decides to work on that instead. And by the time Goku gets Super Saiyan Blue, Gohan would get this with help from Whis. Around this time, though, a bit later, not exactly around this time, since this is still a couple months before, Goku and Gohan continue on to train, and by that time, Sorbet ends up arriving on Earth and reviving Frieza. Now, you guys know the whole story about that. In pretty much all my what-ifs, current ones at least, I am basically at the point where Frieza arrives, or we're done with Frieza. But that's only because I want to finish these series and dive into other ones. So in this part, since I don't want to bore you guys too much, I'm going to speed through it. Alright? So let's get back into the story. With Frieza revived, he trains for 4 months like usual, and marches towards Earth with his army. The fighters gather, except Gohan isn't actually there. They're slightly weakened, but Piccolo is a lot stronger than everybody else there, and he's much stronger than in the original series as well, because he's been training with a stronger Gohan, one that has BROLY genes from the beginning. So the army is easily defeated, much like the original series, except Piccolo is a lot stronger, and then Frieza himself steps forward. Piccolo would be the first to fight him, and although he does force Frieza to use his 4th form, Piccolo isn't that much of a threat. Everyone realizes Piccolo is their best last hope, and they give him all their energy, so he is able to fight better. Goten and Trunks even join in, and this makes Frieza nonetheless not too happy, but he just uses his golden form and basically one-shots Piccolo. So that's the end for Piccolo right there. He's not dead yet, but he's down onto the ground. Back on Beerus' planet, though, everybody does sense just what's going on, but much like another series, Gohan immediately senses Frieza's there, but guess what? They don't have instant transmission, so they're on their way right now, and Gohan tells the others telepathically that they're only a couple minutes away. Just hang in there. Frieza starts to have his fun shooting beams towards Piccolo, much like he did with Gohan in the movie. Piccolo gets extremely injured, and once he's on the ground, Frieza prepares his final attack, when Whis' Bifrost thingy shows up, and Gohan blocks it. He is angry. Gohan rushes at Frieza in full power, and Frieza does not stand a chance. He gets whooped around and anticlimactically gets one shot through the chest, and then Gohan would fire a final beam to end his short revived life. Gohan would then stay on Earth, realizing he is needed. And after Piccolo's healed, Gohan would apologize to him, and although Piccolo knows it wasn't his fault, he does take up the training part. Goku would remain on Beerus' world, and with him being the main focus, he's able to get a lot stronger, and he's even able to show off Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken to Whis. Whis does end up thinking that this is a good strategy, and surprised that something from King Kai, is this strong and this helpful. He realizes that if an opponent is stronger or greater in power than Goku, he could easily use this to catch up to him and get stronger and premature burst of power to catch them off guard. Speaking of catching off guard, Champa would arrive and the Tournament of Destroyers would be set up. Goku is team captain and goes around to pick members. Of course, he's the first one, and his first pick would be none other than Gohan. Remember, Gohan is much more into training, but he still keeps up with work. Because of the training thing, though, he's able to get time opened up, and he doesn't have to go to that stupid meeting that we saw him go to in the original series. Piccolo is an obvious choice, and he's gotten a lot stronger since, for the Frieza arc, because Gohan's been training with him a lot more. And the last pick would be Goten. Now, I know I do Goten a lot, but it makes a lot more sense here, because Goten would be stronger. Remember, he's been training with Goku a lot more since Goku never died in the Buu Saga, and Gohan a lot more since Gohan was more into training as well. Monaka would be the last and final pick by Beerus. Beerus didn't want to make it seem like Gohan was the strongest person he ever fought, so he decided that he was just going to downgrade Gohan a bit more by motivating them to think that Monaka is the strongest person he's ever faced, and actually wasn't Gohan. And before the time chamber training starts, Beerus would say this, and before the tournament starts, the time chamber training would go along. And the 3 days of training would be with Gohan, since Vegeta is kind of dead, and it would be good for the both of them. Goku gets to practice Blue Kaioken more, and he got tips from Whis on how to make it better, so he would apply them here. It's just going to give him better control and less strain, although it still is a last resort. Gohan, on the other hand, is still trying to access even one god form, and is struggling to do so he just can't seem to get it. Eventually, he gives up and continues to master his Super Saiyan 2 transformation, and that's when the time chamber training ends, with the Tournament of Power, or the Tournament of Destroyers, that's for a while, starting here. Since Goten is the weakest, he goes first and is able to easily defeat Botamo by twisting his legs and throwing him off the ring. When he moves on to the next fighter, it's Frost, and although he challenges Frost's first form, when Frost powers up to his third and presumably final, quote-unquote, final form, he's able to defeat Goten. Remember, he doesn't use the poison needle here as well, so Jocko isn't suspecting of him yet. But Piccolo ends up going next and forces Frost to use his full power, and this isn't that much because Piccolo is still a whole lot stronger. He's able to easily defeat Frost, but Frost would then use his poison needle at the very end and get Piccolo down and out. Jocko would here notice that Frost used a needle and get him disqualified, much like the original series, and he is fully disqualified unlike the original because Piccolo doesn't actually feel like fighting him again. Remember, it's actually Piccolo and not Vegeta. Vegeta's dead, so yeah, Frost is completely out of the ring, and we move on to the next fight, which is with Vegeta. Now, Piccolo and Vegeta's fight is actually even because, you remember, Namekians completely live off of water-ish thingy. I don't know how that whole thing works, but I think it would work here as Vegeta makes heat. So once there's a whole ring covered in heat, Piccolo is starting to struggle a lot more. But after he realizes that he can use insults to take down Vegeta, he does it. He puts his mouth to good use, and he is able to easily defeat Vegeta after that. Kaba would be the next fight, and remember, base Kaba is practically equal to base Vegeta, so I think Piccolo would be defeated here. Sorry for Piccolo, but Kaba is pretty strong in his own right. Goku is up next, and he takes on Kaba, teaching him the Super Saiyan transformation as well, except it's a lot less ruthless than what Vegeta did, because, it's Goku instead. Kaba is then knocked out by Goku, who moves on to fight Hit. Now, their fight goes pretty similar up to when Goku uses Kaioken, because he is a lot stronger. Once he uses Kaioken to further power himself, Hit is taken back a lot more than in the original series because Goku is hella strong. Now, this does help Hit improve as well, and although Goku is a lot more stronger, this is making Hit stronger as well because Hit continuously improves. Although their fight is much more even now, Hit eventually catches up to him and eventually starts to surpass him. And when this happens, Goku ends up losing Kaioken and calls it quits. Gohan is the last one standing, and he is able to take on Hit much easier. In Super Saiyan 1, he's putting up an amazing fight, and I would go as far as to say he surpasses Kaioken Blue Goku. What most people theorize is Goku and Vegeta didn't use their new transformation against BROLY because they knew the Kaioken and Evolution wouldn't be strong enough. But most people also assume Evolution is a 20 times multiplier on top of Blue. Since that transformation and Kaioken times 20 Blue Goku are seemingly even. Gohan here has had much better training than BROLY, has had training with Whis, and even 3 years of time chamber training with a god-powered Goku, so he is surpassing Hit by a margin. Hit's improvement against Goku gives him a better chance, and he continues to improve, but Gohan would just power up into Super Saiyan 2, and a fraction of that power is more than enough to take down Hit for good. Afterwards, Zeno would arrive and is much more interested in Gohan, but Goku is still the one to talk to him, and he becomes friends with Goku, and keep that in mind because that's how we get the Tournament of Power started. But following this, Goku Black is supposed to be the one that comes forward. As we then see the future timeline, we see Goku Black, who is our main guy. Because of Goku Black, why is it not Gohan Black, you might ask? Well, Let me tell you here, Zamasu realized that Gohan's power was unstable, and he was using mortal powers, not godly, while Goku was using god powers. Therefore, he would get the body of the one he has more hatred for. Same thing happens in the future, and Trunks would eventually make it back to the past timeline. Goku Black follows him, and much like the original series, fights our Goku. During the fight, Black is sucked back in and blows up the time machine, much like the original series as well. Now, remember, Vegeta is dead, and Trunks knows that, so instead of training with Vegeta, he would end up training with Gohan, and since Gohan is able to get a so much stronger boost in so little time, he's able to train up Trunks a lot more in a few days, and Trunks would get a whole lot stronger. Bulma would end up finishing the time machine, and they would all go back to the future. Once they get there, they see all the destruction, but it doesn't matter as similar events take place. Instead of Vegeta, since he's dead, Goku would take on Rose, Goku Black, and they're pretty much fighting on par. Goku would end up pulling out Kaioken, and this is giving him the upper hand, but surprising to him, Zamasu ends up showing up, and this gets Goku distracted as Zamasu is then fought by Goku. So Gohan takes Goku's place as he continues on to fight Black. Trunks joins in and tries to help Goku defeat Zamasu, but he just seems indestructible for some reason. The two are easily able to keep him busy though, since even though he's immortal, it doesn't mean he can't take damage or get held back. Also doesn't mean that he's super powered. But let's see Gohan, who is easily winning against Black, even in Super Saiyan 1. Remember, a Super Saiyan 1 Gohan is stronger than Broly Super Saiyan 1, so he's absolutely demolishing Black. And even if Zamasu intervened, although immortal, he still takes damage for a short time, so Gohan could just knock him away with one hit, sending him hundreds of miles away. And here, he actually finishes off Black in the first fight. Then the group head back, realizing that Zamasu is immortal. But Goku and Gohan would learn the Mafuba, and then bring the container and the seal back, because Gohan is smart, and Gohan is able to block Zamasu's attack, not destroying the time machine, and then he would use the Mafuba on him with Goku to take him in. They would then give the jar to Gowasu after they return to their original timeline, and they store the container somewhere safe. Goku then gives the tournament idea to none other than Zeno, and we leave off where the Tournament of Power is now on its way. So that's where we leave off things for right now, guys. Hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like to subscribe. When we hit 25 likes, I'll continue with another part, but for now, leave your thoughts and suggestions down in the comments below. Hit the bell to be part of the Super Saiyan 4s, and how do you think the Tournament of Power will go? We will find out in the next one. But for now, I'll see you soon. Peace out.